The next presentation is about digital stuff, digital marketing and all that. And I'm going to give you the exact title here in just a second. Digital Marketing Strategies, Exciting Ways to Reach New Customers with Jonathan Brownfield. And he has a really cool hobby. First of all, he's a national recognized online influencer. There he is, and making a dramatic entrance. And digital strategist as the CEO of Lyft Digital Media. And his favorite pastimes include automobile racing and, of course, blogging. And for the past 3 years, listen to this now, you guys are going to eat your hearts out. Automotive manufacturers ship him a new car to test and blog about every Tuesday, including Alfa Romeos and Rolls Royces. His blogs can be read on BehindTheWheel.com. Jonathan, Beth's been wanting me to meet you for months. Finally had the opportunity. There you go.
Nice to meet you. So I'm going to start by saying that I know I look very young, but I'm actually 30. So don't let my looks deceive you. So I've actually been named a top 40 or 40 in 2 different magazines. And then as far as my background, I went to school at the University of Missouri for traditional marketing, and I studied digital strategy at Harvard Business School. And to top that all off, I started my own company called Lyft Digital Media, which is a digital marketing firm based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So, over the years, I've built digital strategies for a number of companies, ranging from small companies to Fortune 500 companies. But I'm here today to tell you about new opportunities in the yachting industry. And it's very relevant because everything within digital marketing starts with knowing your audiences. And so that's where I went ahead and tried to figure out who's buying yachts. So I first started pulling data from multiple sources online, such as Facebook and Google and Yahoo and Amazon and Bing, to figure out who's buying them. And then once I figured that out, I wanted to figure, okay, well, who's buying them by age? So you look here, we can see, younger demographics, 25 to 34, these are wealthy individuals that are using the internet. That's step one. But we find, okay, there's also demographics where age 45 are starting to go up there. And it's not surprising to see this trend because more younger adults are online than some of the older generations. But the interesting thing to keep in mind is that when you look at the fastest demographic of online users as far as growth, it's baby boomers. They're getting online to see what their kids are doing or what their grandkids are doing. So they're wanting to use the internet, but they're using it in a very different way. So after I figured out the age demographics, I then narrowed down, okay, well, who's interested in buying a yacht? And we know this based upon their search patterns or their behavior patterns or conversations that are happening online about buying yachts or interest in the yachting world. But once we have that data, we need to figure out who's actual individual customers. Whether they're male or female, how old their kids are, if they even have kids, if they're single or divorced. So the reason why it's important is because if you can talk to your customer and show them relevant messaging and information directly to that audience, they're 10 times more likely to buy from you. So a 30-year-old wants to see a bunch of girls on bikinis, drinking shots on a yacht, or a 55 to 65-year-old grandmother wants to go ahead and see the whole family getting together aboard a yacht and having a nice family vacation that's very PG. So we know who these people are. The question is how to reach them, and that's where the real fun starts. And it's fun because there's hundreds of ways to reach these audiences. The question is how do you want to reach them and what do you want to tell them? But before I get into that, I want to tell you a very interesting statistic. So decades ago, they did a study for marketing figuring out what would happen if someone go ahead and interacts with your brand 3 times, and the likelihood of someone interacting with your brand 3 times to want to buy from you. And they found that that magic number was 3. Modern studies today show that people need to interact with your brand, interact with or understand your marketing message 8 times in order to want to buy from you. And what that means for us is that we need to go ahead and touch these people multiple times in multiple ways in order to get them to build that relationship. And a lot of this increase in the number of times you have to reach people and talk to people is because everything's cluttered now. There's more and more ways to get in front of someone, and people are becoming more ACD or whatever the ADHD, where they're not paying attention to stuff. Their phone's constantly, they're flipping through very quickly. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys an example. This is a modern consumer purchasing behavior. It either starts with consumer-driven or a consumer-driven or discovery-driven journey. And what that means is that consumer-driven, they already know they want to buy a yacht or charter a yacht. The question is who? And a lot of times what they're doing is they're going online, they're searching for a yacht company or a yacht broker. And the key thing about this is, are you at the table? So they'll go ahead, they'll figure out in the first couple pages who they want to talk to, and then they go to a website. With the discovery-driven approach, this is where people are seeing an ad online, or they might be seeing an ad in a print magazine, or it might be at a boat show where they find out about your brand and they go to your website. But the key thing here is, once they get on your website, what do they do? Do they fill out a contact form? Do they just search around and not do anything and then leave your website? Because the vast majority of people go to a website and they don't buy, they don't do anything where you actually go ahead and get their email address or phone number. But that's the beauty of the online world now and how we can track everyone. So now what that allows us to do as marketers is go ahead when they leave our website, we can then display retargeting ads to them or send emails if we do have their email address, or we can pull it from multiple data sources. Or we try and get in front of them with social media content to get them to think about your brand and then ultimately go back to your website and ultimately buy from you guys. So, like I said, there's hundreds of ways to reach people, and these are my favorites. And so I'll start with social media. Social media is something that everyone's doing. We heard earlier today that people are on it, people want to hear your story. So now it's about creating that really unique content for social media in the yachting world to tell your story, but not just you as an individual, but you as a brand, you as a yacht brokerage or a yacht builder. So once you actually figure out, okay, what you want to say, the key is then getting in front of people, and that's where the online advertising networks come through. And a little tip that we found through a lot of our clients in the yachting industry, people, especially younger people, they don't care about the boat. They just care about the experience. So what we found is we can build social media content that shows that experience in a visual way, whether it's through photos or videos. Showing that experience, they're much more likely to engage with it and then click through. So here's an example. As you can see up top in the center of my newsfeed, it's a piece of content from IWC. It's actually an ad from IWC that IWC placed in my newsfeed. It's a younger couple kind of lounging around, unwinding, enjoying being on a yacht. And what's interesting about it is that if you look down below, people can like it, they can comment or share it. And so what we're doing here is we're taking ads that are traditionally static pieces of information, and we're allowing that social experience to happen. Because if I go ahead and I share that ad, now all my friends are going to see it. And typically when people of high net worth individuals, they have friends with other high net worth individuals. So if they're friends with each other, it's going to create more of this experience from a viral nature. But you can see on the other side, on the right-hand side, there's other two ads from Bench and then SPG. Again, they're younger people because I'm a younger guy and this is my Facebook profile. But if I was an older gentleman who is maybe divorced, I might want to see an older gentleman with a younger girl, or maybe a girl in her 40s or 50s. So it's about creating these ads that are tailored to your audience to catch their eye. So search engine marketing is another great opportunity, and this is something that everyone in this room should be doing. And the reason why is if people are looking for your products, your services, or whatever you do in the yachting industry, if they're looking for it, you need a seat at the table. You're missing huge opportunities if people are actually trying to figure out who to choose to buy a yacht, and you're not at least present. And so I've heard from a lot of people in the past, okay, well, I've tried search engine marketing or SEO, and I didn't get any results. That could be true for a number of reasons, but what you have to do here is you have to look at the keywords that you're actually trying to target for. See how competitive they are, and try and figure out how people are experiencing them, are they the right keywords? But it's not as simple as that. Once you actually click through on those keywords, you want to make sure that those keywords are relevant to your landing page. So if you're talking about buying a yacht and chartering in the Bahamas, on the ad, you need to go ahead and have a landing page that talks about what to do in the Bahamas to keep that thing relevant. You need that whole consumer experience to be very engaging and interesting for your audience. So, a good example where people may not even know they're being targeted on search engines is the top one here, luxury yacht charters, Bahamas, book now. I know it's an ad because there's a little square ad icon right by the ad, but this is a really good ad because it's talking about the prices. So since there's prices up there, you're going to pre-qualify them a little bit, because someone that isn't willing to spend 20 grand a week isn't going to, not many people are going to actually click through and waste their time, but it's giving you different options. So display advertising, this is the real fun one here. So think about last time you bought a pair of shoes or you went to buy a car and you started searching online for buying shoes or buying a car, and you start doing some research. And then the next thing you know, all of a sudden you start seeing ads everywhere on the internet for that car. You might be going to look for a Land Rover, and all of a sudden you're seeing on all these different sites, Land Rover, and how great they are. And then all of a sudden you see an ad from Audi because they want to steal your business away from Land Rover. This is where display advertising comes in, because you can go ahead and use data segments based upon people's search habits, their behaviors online, conversations. You pull all of this into display ads. And the display ads can be static, or it's just an image by itself, or it can even be some animation to it to catch your eye, depending on the site. So here's an example actually on USA Today. In this case, Surehold, they make boating products for cleaning, boat washes, polishes. So I went ahead and I went to Surehold to try and find some boat polish for my boat. And I was on there for a while searching different things. I didn't buy, but then later on, a couple days later, I went to USA Today and Surehold pops up. And now instantly I'm thinking, oh, Surehold, I should go and check them out again, potentially, especially for their brushes. But the key thing here is that Surehold didn't go out and talk to USA Today and say, hey, I want to go ahead and put ads on USA Today. What they did is they leveraged ad networks and data. So what happened was when I went to Surehold's website, a cookie was placed on my computer. From there, when I travel the internet and I have there's ad networks that see, okay, this cookie's on my computer where I went to Surehold's website. Now they'll deliver advertisements on the websites I visit. And the two really cool things about this is, one, now Surehold stays top of mind because someone went to Surehold and they're going around the internet and they're thinking about Surehold. The other thing is Surehold looks really big. How many companies can afford to advertise on USA Today? Not many, but now Surehold is advertising on USA Today directly to me, so it costs them pennies on the dollar of what they would normally spend to have an ad on USA Today. Videos are a really cool, fun opportunity as well. So the interesting thing with video is that we talked earlier about how people want to see that experience. They want to, if they can, almost touch and feel the yacht virtually, of what it's like to be on the yacht, what the amenities and options are. So video advertising now allows you to go ahead and actually get them a virtual tour of it. But the key thing is, I've seen a lot of people go ahead and spend tons of money on creating these nice, beautiful, polished videos, and 100 people watch them. With video advertising through Hulu and YouTube and other platforms like that, you could then take that same data we pulled earlier in the presentation to find out who can actually afford yachts and get that video in front of them on their computer screens. Whether they're actually on YouTube searching for yachting, or in this case, I was searching for the David Bowie Space Odyssey music video. And that's what I wanted to watch, but before I got to it, a little bump ad came up for Grammarly, where they wanted me to either go ahead and click through to learn about their products, or I can go ahead and skip it to get to what I'm looking for after a few seconds. So this allows you in a very effective way to advertise with video without having to go to a major broadcast channel or a cable network, where potentially you'd go ahead and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and maybe only 1% at most would actually need your product. In this case, you're essentially hyper-targeting with a laser beam focus to people that would actually want and can afford your product. That's the key thing here. Because you can pull this data from different sources, and all these different ad networks and platforms, they'll give you their data essentially. It's just knowing how to pull that data, and then once you actually pull that data, figuring out, okay, well, how do you segment it down so it's the right audiences for the top 1%? you can then go ahead and put other data segments in. So as an example, my agency's in the process of acquiring basically a list of every American Express Platinum and Black Card holder. We don't need to know their names or addresses. We just need to know their unique user IDs online. Then we can marry that data up together so we know, okay, that's another qualifier to make sure we're hitting the right people with our video advertisements or our display advertisements or social media ads. But the final piece of your puzzle here for your marketing mix online is your website. And I can't stress this enough because there's been so many times where companies come to me and say, hey, we want you to go ahead and drive a bunch of traffic, a bunch of qualified traffic to our website to make sure that we actually have people interested in our website and they're going to buy from us because they're going to go to our website. But then their website's rubbish. Either the website doesn't look good because it's not formatted for mobile, or it's not formatted right for desktop, or the visuals just don't capture people's imagination, or the messaging's wrong. But sometimes we could have a beautiful website, and even though it's a beautiful website, it doesn't mean that it's actually converting because there's no call to actions. Or in some cases, you're driving the wrong traffic to it. A really great example is a company that came to us, and we found out that after doing a lot of data analysis on their website and the traffic patterns and everything they're doing from a marketing perspective, that 78% of their traffic came from mobile devices, from your cell phone, from your tablet. But then we went ahead and looked even further, and we looked at their sales that were happening online. And we found that over 95% of their sales were happening from desktop devices, which meant even though their website looked amazing on mobile devices, no one was buying on mobile for whatever reason. But if we could go ahead and switch their marketing and drive more desktop traffic to their website, then that allows us to go ahead and actually increase sales. And so we found within 3 days, we virtually doubled some of their online transactions, which is absolutely incredible because we didn't even have to change some of the marketing. We just went ahead and shifted a lot of the traffic patterns. So one final word about all this, it really works. And the reason why I say this is there's been so many times where we've gone ahead and we've been able to build out campaigns for clients, targeting that right user with that right audience member in order to actually get them to make a sale. And so an example, one of our, a yacht broker we started working with, they went ahead and they were looking for new sales for business. As a benchmark, they were averaging about 9 leads per month for traffic coming in. We went ahead and started doing online advertising and started doing online advertising through social media and display and search to go ahead and actually capture people's attention, get them to the website. And we knew they were qualified because everyone we're targeting is high net worth in the top 1%. We use property value data to figure out, okay, hey, they live in a home that's $2 million and above. And if they live in a home that's $2 million and above, they should be able to afford to buy a yacht. And we figured out that they liked yachting. So within a matter of months, we actually started averaging 35 leads per month. That's almost 4 times growth just using these tactics and using even a small budget. So I'm a firm believer in online advertising, digital marketing. Anyone have any questions?
Raise your hand. I always thought that it was kind of intrusive when after I've searched something, all of a sudden I keep seeing that ad. How do you eliminate that?
So they have privacy settings. So the easiest way to do it would be go into your Google profile and under settings, look for the privacy section, and you can turn that off. You'll still get ads, but it just won't be custom tailored to you. But the interesting thing is, we're looking at trends and surveys. People actually like these custom tailored ads because now they're not getting random ads for things they don't want. They're actually getting ads for things they're interested in.
Okay, we have another one over here. What size are these yachts that you're considering yachts? Just wondering, when you did all your research.
So I'm considering yachts really probably about 80 feet and above. For the client I just spoke of, they're figuring yachts that are 100 feet and above. But the same thing can be applied to smaller boats or tenders or it's the same philosophy, just different data points.
As far as your last client you just talked about, what's your definition of small budget?
So they were spending about $10,000 a month. And actually that's small because for some people it's big, but based on the results they were getting and they're actually seeing sales conversion points, for them, if they're chartering or selling a 100-foot yacht, that to them it pays for itself.
Anyone else?
I think we have one right here as well.
What's your philosophy on sponsored ads for both LinkedIn and Facebook? Kind of like the how much, the what, the where, the when for sponsoring ads.
So through Facebook, I'm a big fan of it for most industries and categories. What I typically do is I'm not a fan of just going ahead and on a Facebook post and hitting boost. What I always do is I use a power editor through Facebook. So if you do a Google search for power editor, I do everything through there because you can get much more granular and you can input your own data if you want to. So that'll allow you to hyper-target a lot more effectively. It's somewhat easy if you know how to do it as well. In terms of LinkedIn, I don't like LinkedIn unless it's very specific cases, because LinkedIn advertising can be very expensive. And in order to actually use LinkedIn advertising to its full potential, they require you to have a minimum of $25,000 to spend. So most companies don't want to spend $25,000 in advertising. And to be honest, also with LinkedIn, most people only spend about 6 minutes a day. 6 minutes a month on average. And the reason why is if you think about who uses LinkedIn, how people are using it, it's either the average person that doesn't really need LinkedIn. They just go on there to connect with people if they meet online or when they get an invitation, or they're trying to look a friend up for some reason, but they're not using it on a daily basis. Or it's recruiters. And recruiters are on there 24/7. So when you look at that 6 months on average per month per user, that's counting the recruiters that spend 24 hours a day on LinkedIn trying to find new recruits or salespeople as well.
We're going to let this go on for just another minute or two because it's very informative and entertaining. We have one more question over here, and then I'm going to ask you to do a mini seminar outside during the cocktail hour.
One question, what percentage of gross sales should we carve out for our digital platform like you're discussing here?
So it all depends on your industry. I've seen some companies spend 5 to 10% of their revenue on sales, whether it's in marketing, whether it's digital or analog. I've seen other companies that spend up to 90%, where they're focused purely on volume. When I look at a lot of people in the yachting industry, or especially if they have higher dollar items that isn't so much volume plays, then typically you'll see a nice percentage of it. But because they're bigger numbers to start with, even though it's not necessarily a huge percentage, it's not 90%, it may only be 10 to 20%, but it's still significant dollar value because it allows significant dollar value, and that allows them to try and touch people on multiple platforms. Because unfortunately, online advertising is a pay-to-play model. You have to pay if you want to get somewhere.
Back to the room back here. Jeff?
Yeah, thank you. Jonathan, how long have these digital strategies been available, and what do you see as the next wave or iteration of this playing field?
So a lot has been available for a while, but they've evolved over time. Going back almost even 10 years ago, they had these mediums to get in front of people. It's just now there's more mediums, and the biggest trend is creating these customized, tailored ads using data. Because whether it's Google or Facebook or LinkedIn or even Amazon, all of them are collecting data. Even if you look on commercials, they have these new little voice boxes, Amazon Alexis or the Google box where you just talk to it and it does stuff. It's recording everything you do. Same thing with your phone. Every interaction that's happening, whether it's an iPhone or an Android device, it's figuring out who your profiles are, who your data is, to try and give you more targeted ads. And I think the trend will be that there's a lot more targeted ads across multiple mixed mediums.
It's great. That's it. Does Bill Gates have a long lost son he doesn't know about? All right. Jonathan, that was fantastic. Well
Thank
done.
you.